mobile, turn on your camera. Okay, once again, we will start our lecture now. So please turn on your camera. Okay, thank you. Sorry for the delay in our lectures. I had internet problem this morning and I need to get some technician to fix it. Anyway, so on our last lecture, you already present your works that about the database, okay, about your application. That's great, and I already asked you to revise some of the your work. Okay. Now, what you need to do now is to create a user manual. Okay, I already left an assignment for you, which is on the course side or kuliah side. It's user manual. So what you need to do is to create user manual for the application that you develop. Okay, so you need to tell new user on how to use your application. Okay, so if a user opening your application, what he or she need to do first? Is it login, or is it selecting something or doing something, and so on and so forth. And then after that, what kind of step need to do to conduct transaction, for example. If user want to buy something, if user want to do something, how to do it. Okay, so basically telling the user how to use your system. Okay, that's the user manual. Okay, you are free to do it in any way you like. You can use flowchart to show user how to do it, just like the class registration system book. You can use picture. Unfortunately, video probably won't be useful this time. I know that some of you might be able to create a video showing how the system should be used, but for now I need to limit the multimedia just picture. Okay, so if you want to show a screenshot of your application and how the user should do it, please do so. Okay, you have you have 2 weeks to do this. I know this is simple. You already know how to use the system. What you need to do is to write down for other people on how to use your system. Okay. Later on, this user manual is part of the full report that you need to submit to replace final exam. So for your final exam, you don't need to work on some problems. What you need to do is to submit complete report. I will let you know later what's the complete report should consist of. Okay, any question so far?
Maybe.
Okay, thank you for that. Now let's get on with there are 2 topics today. Officially there is only one, general ledger and reporting system, but later on I will touch a bit about the next 2 topics, the last 2 topics, of our course, which is system development. But for today, I will let you know some example of the work that I did in the past regarding system development. Okay, but now let's start with the general ledger and reporting system. Okay, so this is the last system. This is the termination of all information flowing from other cycles to the general ledger and reporting system. So if you remember, every transaction cycles we discussed already, there is always a flow of information from that cycle to general ledger and reporting system, because we need this for reporting, to create financial report and other managerial report that required by the management. Okay, so the first part of general ledger and reporting system is to create financial report. You already covered this in introduction to accounting, and you will explore in more details many aspects of this process in financial accounting courses. I understand that now you are taking intermediate accounting 1, okay, and then there will be intermediate accounting 2, intermediate accounting 3, advanced accounting, and other financial accounting courses that will discuss in detail the whole process, like if you have this account, if you have this transaction, how to measure that transaction, how to record that transaction, and so on and so forth. I'm not expert in financial accounting, so I will let the financial accounting lectures to guide you on that. Okay. So from each accounting cycle subsystem, there is summary entries related to routine activities in the cycles. Okay, so that's the data coming from. From the treasurer, there will be information about non-routine transaction, like transaction with creditors and investors. And then later on, this is something that will not appear on financial report, the performance evaluation. This is especially from budget department, okay, and also from adjustment. So these are the basic activities: update the general ledger, post adjusting entries, prepare financial statement, and then the last one, produce manager report. Okay, like I said, I will not cover the first three because it's already discussed extensively in financial accounting courses. I will touch a bit about producing managerial reports. Okay, so let's just skip general ledger. Okay, with manual system, updating general ledger consists of you creating journal entries and then posting the journal entries into the general ledger. But now with computerized system, as soon as transaction entered into the system, the general ledger will be updated immediately. Okay, so that's the journal voucher, post adjustment entry. Everything, although it's still although it's used full automatic system, it will still hold the same principle. It will still hold the same steps in in posting the general ledger. Okay, adjustment also, there are accrual, deferrals, estimates. I will not, again, I'm not very good at this. Okay. Re-evaluation. This is quite interesting for me because in the 1990s, when I was studying accounting for the first time, re-evaluation was actually were not favorite. I mean, it was frowned upon. Okay, but nowadays with the mark-to-market accounting practice, the accounting standard, our Indonesian accounting standard, allow re-evaluation. In fact, some of them actually have to be done regularly to reflect realistic market value in the book. So, and in many cases, that holds true. I mean, had once had a car. It's Avanza, so it's cheap car. I bought that car like, I think it's around 100. Sorry, no, not 100 million. It's only 95 million. Okay. I used that car for 4 years. Okay. So from accounting perspective, there's already depreciation, and the book value of that car obviously less than 95 million at the end of the 4th year. So after 4 years, I sold that car, and when I sold that car, still the selling price was 112 million. So just by comparing the cost itself, I gained profit like 17 million. And if you calculated that I already used that car for 4 years with all the depreciation, the profit is getting bigger. So the sale value of my car was higher than the purchase value. And that's the idea behind re-evaluation. Okay. But again, I'm not expert, so how to make re-evaluation and everything will be discussed in more detail by your accounting financial accounting lectures. Okay, error correction again. Prepare financial statement, income statement, closing entries, statement of stockholder equity, balance sheet, and statement of cash flow. Again, when I was learning about accounting in the 1990s, statement of cash flow was not a compulsory report. Okay, but nowadays it is a compulsory report. Now, just managerial report. Managerial report will not appear on financial report or financial statement, obviously, because this is for internal purpose. Some of them, among other things, report it to verify the accuracy of posting process. Remember, Sarbanes-Oxley, that the CEO and also Chief Financial Officer are responsible for the financial report published to by the company. So they have to verify the accuracy posting process. Budget for planning and evaluating performance. Okay, so most of the time, if you remember that last week we discussed about human resource management cycles, performance evaluation. One of the indicator for performance is how well we can meet the budget. Okay, it's either for expenses or revenue. Okay, now the budget is the tools for something they call responsibility accounting. Okay, so it means responsibility accounting is each unit will be responsible for their own budget. Okay, and it will be headed by a manager, and that manager will be responsible for the performance. So there are few different center for that. First is the cost center. This is the responsibility center. This is, for example, production, service, administrative department. So this center is only responsible for expenses like production. They will consume material costs, labor costs, and overhead costs, but no revenue. Okay, so their performance will be assessed by comparing cost budget to the actual cost. So if I was manager of production department and I had a budget of producing 1,000 units with 1 million rupiah cost, then my performance will be evaluated by how many product I actually produce and at what cost. So if I produce exactly 1,000, but the cost is more than 1 million, then that might be unfavorable to my performance. But again, the performance will be evaluated based on controllable costs. So for example, if in the middle of financial year, there is an increase in prices, there is increase in labor wage, minimum wage, there is increase in cost of electricity, that's beyond my control. Okay. But if the cost is including like efficiency in using material, so for 1 unit I should only use 1 materials, but in reality I use 2 materials, then that would be on me. Okay, so the focus is on controllable cost. There are revenue centers like sales department. Their performance is evaluated based on how much revenue they can generate. They don't have costs in here, so only revenue. Okay, again, similar to the cost center, they will have a budget revenue, and then it will be compared to the actual revenue they generated. Okay. Additional performance indicator would be based on product. Like if the company want to sell product A, but the sales only sells product B, then that's probably bad for the performance. Profit center is a different. Profit center is a unit specific that their performance is evaluated based on profit. Profit center usually is an independent business unit, okay, like a subsidiary or something like that. Investment center, plant division or other autonomous operating unit, they will be calculated, they will be evaluated based on return on investment. Okay. Now, like I said, about when for cost, okay, cost could be fluctuated. Okay, so and budget was calculated and determined at the beginning of financial year, and during the year there could be changes in circumstances, changes in prices. Budget was developed using a set of assumptions, and if that assumption could not be met, we could not expect to meet the budget. So we need to adjust for unforeseen changes. Okay. Otherwise, it could be penalized. Let me give you this example. Okay, for example, a unit forecast sales is 1,000. So a product was forecasted to be sold 1,000. But in reality, because the sales department are so good in their job, they actually able to sell 1,200 units. So there's increase of 200 units. Okay. However, because the actual product being sold increased 200 units, the cost of goods sold also increased. The cost to produce 1,000 units obviously smaller than the cost to produce 1,200 units. Okay. So, if the budget for production are not flexible, they will be penalized. Why? Because they were having 1,000 units with, for example, if 1 unit costs 1 rupiah, then they should only cost 1,000 rupiah. But instead, because they produce more product, 1,200, cost 1,200 rupiah. Okay, so obviously, the actual cost will be higher than the budget. And if we don't consider the increase in sales, the production unit or the production department will be penalized. Okay, and we need to consider this. Although the sales department able to sell 1,200, if we don't give appreciation to production department, they won't be able to produce this 1,200. Why? Because it will exceed their budget. Okay. Solution is developing a flexible budget. Again, this will be discussed in accounting, cost accounting, managerial accounting, or managerial control system. I will not discuss this. Okay. So in general, the objective for general ledger and reporting system is to have all transactions properly authorized, all recorded transactions are valid, all valid and authorized transactions are recorded, and all transactions are recorded accurately, assets are safeguarded from loss or theft, business activity are performed efficiently and effectively, the company is in compliance with all law and regulation, and all disclosure are full and fair. Okay. So that's for the general ledger and reporting system. Any question so far? Okay, that's okay. Let's continue with system development or system analysis and development. That will be our last two topics for the next 2 weeks. Okay. Now, I've been lecturer for 23 years, okay, and I spent more than 20 years in system development, either as a lecturer or as a practitioner. Okay, so I used to, in 2011 and 2012, I used to be a project manager for developing web-based application. It was for photographer.net. Photographer.net at that time was the biggest photography startup in Southeast Asia. Okay. Let me check if I still can find this information. I also become a consultant for Intan Pariwara Group in Klaten, and then I was consultant for project with the that was paid by AusAid, the Australian government, and it's work for Ministry of Home Affairs. The project was for development of information system for PNPM Mandiri. And also I was working paid by the American government for working with e-procurement with the Indonesian government. Okay, so let me share this just to let you know. Okay, so if you look at this, okay, this is the 2012 version, if you like, and here it is. This is my name. So I was the project manager for this. Photographer.net as a company has long gone because in 2017, the founder, this person, passed away. So the others decided to dissolve the company, and now it still exists, but it's just like community website instead of professional and commercial one. So yeah, this is what. Okay, so if you remember, okay, you already creating documentation, you already creating databases, tables, you already creating forms, some reports perhaps. That's actually all you already practice in system development. Okay. And if you remember that I told you last week that it is a common practice that you revise your design over and over. You create a design, you discuss that with your customer or client or the stakeholder, and they said, no, that's not what we want, or that's not adequate, that's not sufficient, and you have to change the design. That's happened. Okay. With photographer.net, for example, that version, the 2012 version, was deployed on the 1st of February, and yet on the 31st of January, around 11 p.m., so just 1 hour before the launch, we still have to change the design, okay, because of many other considerations. A big system like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Tokopedia, Gojek, they change every time. Even I know for a fact that Facebook changed their system every 2 weeks, but most of the change was behind the scene. You won't be able to see the difference. Once a while, Facebook will change something in their graphical design, but most of the time the changes were behind the scene. Okay, so you probably felt that Facebook is a bit faster, less error things, or TikTok or Instagram did the same thing. Okay, and system development nowadays can be separated into two different parts. The first is called the front end. The front end is the part of the system that facing the user. So, for example, if you go to, you already did PraKRS, right? Okay. So, if you fill out your PraKRS plan for next semester, the website that appears before you is the front end. Okay. Front end usually dealing with graphical, usually dealing what the discipline calls the user experience or user interface. Why? Because the designer in that part need to understand how the user, like you as student, for example, using the system. Okay. Believe it or not, the design will be responsible for error. Some design are so bad that a lot of user input into that system were error. Okay. If you're interested, there will be compulsory subject after you pass management information system. It's called system analysis and design. Okay, and then in that subject you will learn how to do everything in more details. Okay, but my specialty, I'm not good in graphical design, and I'm really bad in dealing with users. So I mostly, my experience mostly in the back end. Okay, so if you remember the diagram of a system where there is input, process, and output and output are the domain of front end developer. So they're dealing with the part of the system that interacting with users. My experience mostly on the back end or the process part. So I don't really care about how it looks, and then again, I'm not a graphic designer, but once the user gives the input to the system, I will be able to process that input into an output, and how that output will be delivered to user, that's again, it's not my problem. Okay. So if you look at an application and you see a beautiful design, easy to use design, that's the work of front-end development. But if you look at your internet banking, for example, and saw the number, the balance number, and then you ask the internet banking to transfer your money or paying your bill or buying something, that's the work of back-end developer. Okay. And there is a special breed of developer. It calls the full stack developer. It means they can create or develop system for front end and back end, and that's special breed because they need to have good programming and system development skill, but also good graphical designer, graphical design skills. Yeah. So that's. Do you need to be in informatics for that? No, you don't. Let me again show you this. Okay, this particular person, Kanifun Nisar, he was one of my staff. I have 4 programmers as my staff. Kanifun Nisar only graduated with diploma D3 in accounting, and that's not even from first or top accounting school in Yogyakarta. He was not graduated from Gajah Mada. Atmajaya doesn't have a diploma. He was graduated from Akakom. Okay, but at that time he was the one of my best programmer among those 4. He's capable of creating application at that time for BlackBerry. After that project in 2013, he was resigning, and late 2012 he was resigned and moved to Gameloft to become a game programmer. It wasn't long in Gameloft, like only 2 years, and then he moved to Gojek Group. So he was one of the developer for an application called GoBox. Okay, so you don't need to have informatics education to become a programmer. Okay, that's the good news. And the bad news is you need to learn programming language. Okay, so I told you, you already have practiced some of the system development steps required to build a system. We'll discuss in detail about what steps need to be done next week. Okay. So this is just to give you an example. Now, in more formal system development, like the one that I did for Indonesian government, the bulk of the work that I did was reporting. So if you see, I ask you to do something with the application, right? Creating documentation, submit a report, creating database, present your design, present your idea. That's actually what I did as system analyst. I create a design, submit my report to the stakeholder, the Indonesian government, and then I will present my report to key stakeholders within Indonesian government. Then they will give their feedback, sometimes their disappointment because my design was not up to their standard and things like that. Then I revise my design, submit another report, give another presentation, and so on and so forth. And because building system is, you build something abstract. It's not like you build a house. When you build a house, you can see the progress, right? You can see, oh, they already dig up the land for foundation. Oh, they already pour concrete for foundation. Oh, they already built the wall. Oh, they already paint the wall. Oh, they already put the roof over the house. You can see physically, but with system development, it's very hard. For example, if you remember, you create a flowchart and data flow diagram. That's system, okay? But will the system look like that when it's finished? Now with your application, Is your application behave or look like the flowchart or data flow diagram? No, totally different. You will not see flowchart and data flow diagram flashing around in your application. You will not see in your table data flow or diagram or flowchart. Different from civil engineering. With civil engineering, when you design a house, the design will look quite similar to the actual building, with the actual house. But with system, data flow diagram and flowchart will not look like the application. Okay. So that's difficulties in developing system. And yes, there is a lot of tedious work, creating report, presenting report, discussion with client, listening to client, and so on and so forth. I was selected to, usually when client wants to express their opinion, I would be selected to be one of the people who can, because I tend to listen. My face is not what they call, there is one psychologist, psychologist, that psychologist, she used to label me as a non-threatening face. So if people look at me, they will not feel afraid or threatened without knowing my background. You probably little bit afraid of me probably because I'm your lecturer, but if not, people tend to be, the exact word that psychologists use was, I'm just ordinary as a chair in a room. Okay. But for some people, and you probably notice this in some of your lecturers, as soon as you saw their face, you will stay quiet. It's this type of person, and that's not their fault, it's just their characteristic. It's called a locker personality. So when you meet these locker people, you tend to shut yourself down. You'll close yourself. You will not be easily open to them. But with people like me, because I'm ordinary as chair or curtain or desk in a room, people tend to be more open. Okay. I'm not saying that if you are locker, you cannot be a system developer. Yes, you can, but probably you will not interact with user as much. Okay. And system development is a teamwork. That's why I asked you to create a team. Nothing in IT world built by a single person. Nothing. Everything built by at least 2%. A group, a team. Sometimes it's big team like Microsoft or Google. Okay, that's it for today's lecture. Any question? Okay. So please work on the assignment. It's not difficult, I assume. Okay, you just need to write down all the steps that needed by your user to use your system and submit it in 2 weeks. Okay. See you next week.
Thank you, sir.